My name is Norman Caseberg, and I'm a member of One Northside. One Northside is leading the Chicago for All Coalition, which aims to preserve and improve single-room occupancy in residential hotels. Chicago for All includes the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless, the Sargent Shriver National Center on Poverty Law, Lawyers Committee for Better Housing, Northwest Side Housing Center, Albany Park Neighborhood Council, Business and Professional People for the Public Interest, Chicago Alliance to End Homelessness, Housing Action Illinois, Jane Addams Senior Caucus, Kenwood Oakland Community Organization, Metropolitan Tenants Organization, and the SEIU, Healthcare Illinois and Indiana. We want to thank Alderman Burnett and Powar for joining us here today. Our current co-sponsors are Burnett, Powar, Burns, Dowell, Arena, Fioretti, Marino, Smith, Tunney, and Wagaspack. So we stand here now with the Mayor's Office to announce further progress that we are making with the city in our effort to preserve and improve single-room occupancy and residential hotels across the city. I'd like to, I'd like to welcome the Department of Buildings Commissioner Felicia Davis.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Felicia Davis. Good morning. Felicia Davis, Commissioner for Chicago Department of Buildings. 5 weeks ago, we gathered here to support Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Alderman Burnett, and Alderman Powar, and the Chicago for All Coalition on the introduction of an ordinance that would establish a 6-month moratorium on the conversion of single-room occupancy housing and residential hotels in Chicago. Today, we are here to renew our support of this ordinance and its consideration for approval at today's City Council meeting. The moratorium ordinance will prohibit the issuance of any city building permits that would result in the demolition or conversion of SRO and residential hotels. This includes building permits allowing conversion of all or part of an SRO or residential hotel to a commercial, industrial, or other non-residential or residential use. The moratorium will also prohibit any action that reduces the number of units, whether through complete or partial demolition of the building or by combining 2 or more units. Since 2008, 30 of the city's licensed SROs have closed, and only 5,000 to 6,000 units of housing remain, and the 73 licensed SROs throughout the city. And in the past 3 years, at least 4 SRO hotels have closed, including the Bel Air Hotel, Sheffield House, and the Chateau Hotel, leaving close to 600 residents displaced and with very limited other viable housing options. The moratorium ordinance was developed to stem further displacement of Chicago's most vulnerable residents, while a more permanent and balanced solution is worked in and put in place. The moratorium will preserve current SROs and residential hotels while the city takes stock and time to work with property owners, developers, nonprofit organizations, and advocates to properly evaluate all sides. The Department of Building continues to issue permits for routine maintenance of SROs and residential hotels, including important life safety work that's happening at some of the facilities. Since the moratorium, we have issued permits at 6 different locations. I look forward to working with the key stakeholders in the next 6 months to develop a new permanent ordinance that balances the need for economic growth and affordable housing. Thank you.
So thank you, Commissioner Davis. We also want to thank Alderman Smith for attending this conference. Yes. So the moratorium is just one step along the way to a long-term solution. And we're looking forward to working with the city in the coming months to develop a thoughtful and impactful SRO ordinance, which we aim to introduce with the city in September. So please welcome our next speaker, Fred BARTELS.
Good morning. My name is Fred BARTELS. Since 2007, I have lived at the Millshire Hotel at 2525 North Milwaukee Avenue in Logan Square. I was born and raised on the northwest side of Chicago. In 2007, I was out of work and I was living with a friend. My friend got evicted, and fortunately, I was able to rent a room at the Millshire. The Millshire provides me with rent that I can afford, also lets me live in a safe neighborhood and close to public transportation. Rents are getting so high in Chicago right now that without the Millshire, I'm afraid I would end up out on the street. The owner of our building is in the process of selling the Millshire, so the issues we are discussing here today are affecting us right now. Because of that, I am very grateful to the mayor and all the aldermen who are proposing the 6-month moratorium on converting SROs to upscale housing. I also look forward to the passage of a permanent Chicago for All ordinance. For me and for my neighbors at the Millshire Hotel, this moratorium is a ray of hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Maria Ayala, and I represent the Metropolitan Tenants Organization this morning. The Metropolitan Tenants Organization enthusiastically supports the proposed single-room occupancy moratorium, as it is the first step in the right direction. A permanent ordinance that provides for the full preservation of existing SROs and for the ultimate creation of the 3,500 units needed to house those who are already homeless in Chicago is the ultimate goal to reach for. SROs serve very poor and vulnerable renters. 2/3 of SRO tenants surveyed by the Coalition for the Homeless last year were 50 years of age or older. Nearly half a mental or physical disability, and 25% were military veterans. The projects converting SROs to other uses are reducing the housing options for these renters. Allowing conversions to continue would reduce already limited options for them. Chicago needs to create 3,500 additional units to house those who are already homeless, not eliminate the SRO units we already have. We all deserve to have a place to call home. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Maria. We'll now hear from our lead Chicago for All ordinance sponsors, Alderman Pawar and Burnett.
Good morning. I'm Alderman Walter Burnett, Alderman of the 27th Ward. I'm happy to stand here with this group. I'd like to commend the mayor's office for standing with us, for giving us an opportunity to work on this ordinance, to be very comprehensive, to do development without displacement. We're not against development, we're just against displacement. We want to make sure that people have a place to stay. These are some of our most vulnerable citizens in the city of Chicago. I know I'm standing here with one Northside, but we're about one Chicago. That's right, and one Chicago is about everyone. We need to make sure everyone in the city of Chicago have a decent and affordable place to stay.
Yes.
And being the humane city, humane state, humane country that we are, we have an obligation to make sure that our most vulnerable, our elderly, our veterans are taken care of in this city and in this country. Thank you very much.
I'm tired of hearing about people saying, I don't want to see government subsidize housing or get involved in housing policy, when in fact they do get involved in housing policy on home ownership. We you get a mortgage tax deduction if you own a home, but we stigmatize people who might need affordable housing. So I think we need to break some of that down. And finally, I just wanted to say that when we think about 25% of the residents of SROs are veterans, it's shameful to think that we can send young men and women off the war and then wash our hands when they come back. So we have to do right by them. Thank you.
So we want to thank all our speakers, and we'll be happy to answer any press questions after this conference in about 10, 15 minutes. For now, I'd like to say, Chicago for who?
Chicago for all!